here we are. Here's the WorkRite system. I'm logged in as an administrator. This is, as I say, a demonstration tool. I've got a list of courses which I'm going to be able to run reports on. I've got my administration functions to the left-hand side, a quick links to the right-hand side. For those of you that are used to seeing this particular page here, you'll notice that the left-hand reporting list, that is what has changed. That's where I'm going to come on to in just a few moments. But like I say, for those that haven't got an existing WorkRite system, the concept is that this WorkRite tool will be is the learning management system for asking people to do their training, carry out their training, pass any tests, and if there are there is an assessment pertinent to that particular person's role, they will carry out a workstation assessment, a driving assessment, a home-based assessment. But the fundamentals with each of the training courses is that they will all have a training and test element. So our FireRite course here has got 8 modules of training and a test, whereas the driver or the office-based AssessRite course, the driver course here, we've got the training element and then we've got an assessment. So this information that we're going to be running reports on. So I've got a few examples of the type of information that the customers tend to look to run. But like I say, if you do have any specifics, let us know your questions. We'll try and answer the more generalist ones today, and we'll get back to you individually about your specific questions. But again, building the next webinar session on those questions as well. Fine. So the idea behind improving our reporting suite was fundamentally to make it clearer, more user-friendly, but ultimately more powerful as well. I don't know if any of you using the tool have found that previously we had a long list of reports, some of which were quite sort of rigid in their structure. The idea here is that we have made them far more flexible. So if I dip straight into an assessment report, those of you that used the tool before, you will be familiar with the assessment analyzer function. Simply by clicking on the assessment report on this particular report here, it's defaulted to show me the assessment analyzer information. So what I'm looking at here at the bottom of the page, I've got on the left-hand side, this is my section heading. The second column, I've got my question text. I've then got the answers to each of those questions. This is drawing from the DSE assessment. So this is, as I say, the default. It runs to on the assessment report. And I always demonstrate an existing example, and that is to go to the Your Health General. Do you experience head, neck, or backache whilst working on your computer, which you think may be associated with its use? Here are the 3 answers: never, sometimes, or often. If I wanted to see who those 15 people are, I simply click on the 15, and it opens up a list of those particular people on that have answered that particular question that particular way. So it's the most used report defaults on this particular assessment report. But if I wanted to run a report more specifically, I've got a series of filters. Okay, now you can see here the primary filter and also the secondary filter. I'm going to run all these reports to start with on the AssessRite assessment. Okay, so that's applying that filter here. It's then going to give me a second option. We're just getting your data. Then we have the display type. Now, we've got options here. We can work on totals, we can work on assessments, or we can work on issues within the assessment. I'm just going to work on totals for now, and then I'm going to add a secondary filter. Now, these are the group types within this particular setup here. So one of our group types is location. So if I give the option of location, we've got 3 locations in this particular setup here. We've got field, office, and warehouse. Now, in our previous reports, it was difficult to select a combination of fields in each particular filter. Here you can see we can pick a couple of options. If I apply that filter for those 2 locations there, this dashboard across the middle of the page in a moment will automatically update. So I've currently got one open issue. The top locations for issues, I can expand that particular option there. I can see the open issues by assessment, but also here, this is really quite interesting. I've got the biggest trend. So for the filters I've applied, the biggest trend at the moment is how intensively do you use your keyboard and screen, The main answer is medium. Now that's not an outstanding or it's not an open issue, but it is the most answered question throughout the whole of the assessment with these filters in place. Now I've got the location filter in place. I can add a further filter if I wanted to. So if I wanted to go by question, I can pick a question in the assessment. So this relates heavily to the previous query analyzer. Okay, so if I picked a particular question, I'm going to go for the example I gave earlier. Do you experience head, neck or backache whilst working computer? If I then apply the filter, it's going to provide me with all of that information as well. Now, each time I run a filter, the data at the bottom of the page is updating. Okay, so I can see there for that particular question, these are the answers that have been given. I can export to Excel as you always expect. I can also export now to CSV and to PDF. Now I keep referring back to old reports. I meant to state right at the start that whilst we released the new reporting suite on the 6th of July, you do still have access to all of the old legacy reports, which can be accessed on any of these reporting suites by clicking the top right hand corner, which is the legacy report. So I'll come on to those in a moment, because I think it's important for this particular screen to see how changing some of these filters alters all of the figures. So if I don't run that by location, I'm still looking at the DSE assessment. I want to run this by line manager. It's one of the groups that we have in this system. I'm going to pick a couple of, let's pick Chris, seeing as he's in the room with me. We'll pick Chris as a line manager. I'll apply the filter, but I also want to apply, what should we go for? Anything that's overdue. So if we pick a particular course, apply the filter, and you'll notice that all the data across here has also altered as well. So if I dip into these legacy reports, this is where I will find all the reports that were previously on the left-hand column. So each and every page within this new reporting suite, it will always default to 10 items on the page. But you've got options to expand that. So here are all of the reports that you previously saw on the left-hand side of the WorkRite management system. Now all of these will remain active for a period of 6 months. We're looking to potentially switch them off on the 31st of December. But what we are doing is we're monitoring how many people are using these legacy reports to see how active they are. If they're not used at all in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll potentially look at closing them down sooner, but I think that's unlikely. If we do find that a lot of customers are using the legacy reports over the course of November, December time, we'll look to extend that period. But we are keen for customers to get the main benefit from the new reporting suite because, as I say, they're more powerful, they're clearer, more user-friendly, and the quicker we move over to the new reporting tool entirely, the sooner we can apply all of our support development time to those new reports. So we've done the assessment report. If I then click on the second of the 5 new reports, this is the audit report. Again, we've got primary filters and secondary filters. What we're looking to show here, this is looking to find out anybody that's had any activity on the system. I don't know if any of you have got line managers that you sometimes question as to what they have been up to on the system. Have they been completing their administration? Have they been creating new users, deactivating people they should have been? It's a question we quite often get from customers. I'd like to be able to so the question being, I'd like to be able to see what my staff have been doing, and not just as an end user perspective. So if I pick Chris Jones as an example, again, just deselect everybody, and let's type in here Chris. I can find Chris, I can apply the filter, I can pick a date range. I want to find out all the activity on the system in the last, let's say 12 months. Apply the filter. Okay, and then I want to add an extra filter here. I want to find out the action on the user. Okay. You see here a list of all of the people under Chris's on the system. Sorry. Okay, let's use Paul Arnold. Actually, I was looking for one that was related to that particular system there. Paul Arnold. Okay, let me come back from that for a second. Actually, you can tell I'm learning these reports as well. I should have used everybody there and worked on a separate filter here, action on a particular user, and this is where I should put Chris Jones. Apologies. Okay. I am informed by my colleague that that is actually a bug that we found in the system, which not a good thing to demonstrate to you, but it is a good point to highlight that whilst you are using this reporting suite, folks, please do report back anything that you would expect the tools to do that don't, anything you would like the tools to do that it doesn't currently do, and if you've got any questions about any particular features that you find either are running not necessarily ineffectively, but they're not collating the information you would like them to, please feed that back to us, because we can only evolve these systems with your feedback. So if I apply a filter there for everybody in the system, I'm going to pick this for the last month, apply the filter, let's go action targets. Now what this is going to be showing me, this is going to be showing me the number of activities a particular group of people have carried out. So how many people have carried out reports on the system in the last month? And I can see here on the left hand side, again defaulted to 10. If I pick everybody, I can then see everybody on the left hand side. This is the number of reports and the dates in the middle here that these particular people have carried out. So I can see Chris Jones has carried out a user's report on the 15th of the 7th. If I wanted to go further down the system, I can see that the client admin carried out a training report on this particular day as well. And also, if I'm looking to alter the date range, I can pick a specific date range. If I wanted to find out since the beginning of May until today, add the filter, pick a particular person. I'm going to pick on Chris again. You notice all this information is updating each time we're running this through. Hopefully you're noticing that the combination of filters is extremely flexible. I can add more than one secondary filter on any of these reports, and it enables you to sort of nail down into more detail on any particular set of information. So if I go back to the list of reports, we've got on the left hand side email reports. So here we're looking to find out who's been sending emails, what they've been up to using the system, and I can see straight away that the system has sent 420 emails in the default period, which is the default period on this particular system is the last 7 days. So our demo system here has sent 420 emails in the last 7 days. If I was to edit this one here and say I wanted to find out the training notifications, just as an example of one email that is sent from the system, apply the filter. I pick a date range, let's do the last 7 months. If I apply that, I can then see all of the training notifications that have been sent in the last 7 months. If I then want to nail down again by location, let's pick all the ones in the office that have been sent, and that then number 153 emails in the last 7 months have been sent to the office location. Again, exportable to Excel, CSV, PDF. And on the email reports function here, I can select everybody on this list on the left-hand side, and I can email them in the same way that you've been able to use the previous email everybody reports. That function there is also live. Again, this dashboard in the middle automatically populates as well. 2 more reports to show you. We've got a training report. Now this obviously is everything that's regarding training. So if I pick all courses on this report, select all, apply the filter, I'm then going to apply, again it's picked by location and show you a combination. Let's go with field, apply the filter, let's pick a secondary filter. Let's go by, I want to find out all the assessments overdue since last training notification. These are the options I have. Let's select all, apply the filter, So here, this is probably the naughty list in the field team of people that need to be completing their overdue assessments. Again, the dashboard in the middle automatically updates, so you're given your headline figures across the middle of the screen, so you can then, if you wanted to, save this information. And that's an interesting point. If I was to save this particular report here, I've got a function where, if I just call this test report, description, webinar, and save. Report saved. Okay, so interesting the fact that I've just put that one in there. You'll be able to see in the My Saved Reports how that will actually look. What that's actually done is the filters I've applied here, it is applied in my Saved Report, so I don't actually have to run the filters again next time I want to run it. If I show you how that looks, My Saved Reports on the left-hand side of the screen should now show test report, training report new. The description I gave was webinar. I can schedule running it. Now by scheduling running it, it can automatically run over any period of time I wanted it to go, but I can delete it as well. So if I schedule that particular report there, what interval do I want it to run? Do I want it to run daily, weekly, monthly, annually, or I can put in a custom set of days. But if I want that information monthly, I can save that, and that the report will run automatically every month. Last report to go through. I'm conscious that the time is cracking on. I know there's plenty of questions. The user report is, as it sounds, it's going to a report specifically on your users, not on what they have done and what they have not done. This is specifically on what they have access to, where they are, and their active status. So I'm often asked to be able to run reports on particular job roles. If I deselect and just pick my students, I want to apply that filter. I can see there's 142 students in the system. I then want to find out all of the inactive, just to show you how that works. I apply the filter, 256 inactive. So go back to the active people in the system, there's 142. I can then apply my secondary filter. The idea here is that I'm just finding out how many people are in each of these locations. I can then apply that filter. I've got 65 people that are active in the location office. I can then select all and email them if I need to, or I can export that list to Excel. Pretty good for those of you here that need to consolidate your user lists from existing HR sort of starters and leavers lists. If we've got an automatic integration with your HR system, then this information is obviously accurate in line with your timelines of how that is run. But if you are manually updating starters and leavers, this particular report is going to be infinitely useful to be able to consolidate who's active and who should be and who isn't on the system. So very conscious that is a bit of a whistle-stop tour around the 5 new reports. Please remember the legacy reports are to the top right and are active for at least the next 6 months. But if you've got any questions at all, I'm just going to go to Chris and see if we have any.
All right. Yes, we have got a couple of questions. Not as many as we'd like. So if you do have any questions, please stick some down now while I run through the first couple. The first one, Ryan, which I think you've already answered, but I'll ask anyway, which is how long are the old reports going to be available for if people still want to use those?
Okay. Yeah, our plan is to we're scheduling hopefully to, I say hopefully, the plan is to switch them off on the 31st of December, but please be assured we will not do so if customers are regularly using the legacy reports. If that is the case, we have records our end as to what reports are being used. We will take note of that and deal with customers on a case-by-case basis to make sure that you're getting what you need from the system, and we'll potentially look to reschedule that. But at the moment, the 31st of December is absolutely the plan.
Great. Yeah, when you schedule a report, Ryan, where do the reports go when they run?
Okay. Chris, I might need you to help me on this particular one.
Okay, so the reports get sent to the user that has set up the report via email as a solicitor, so you can use that data in Excel and such. We'll be extending that feature over the next month or so to include PDF export as well, and we're considering whether to be able to actually schedule that to be sent to another email address or an external email address as well. But we need to consider the security around that on behalf of our customers as well, to make sure it's a global feature that is secure enough for all of our customers' requirements.
Okay.
Good. We have got a few coming in now. Thank you, everybody. Right. So can we share saved reports among fellow users, or are they only accessible to the report creator? As at now, they're only available to the person that has saved that report, but again, that's definitely a feature that we'll be taking forward. Okay. Someone has quite rightly spotted that in the frequency of the reports we're missing quarterly, which is in the development roadmap anyway. That should be live within the next couple of weeks. So yeah, well spotted on that one. And I think we've got time for one last question, Ryan, which is: once a joiner has been made inactive, how long do their reports stay on the system?
Okay, that's an easy one to answer. As long as your system is live. We've run a few reports specifically. I mean, the user report was the one that we used for the active and inactive users. I think you possibly noticed that there was quite a large number of inactive people on this particular system, or this demo system here. Yeah, the short answer is as long as your system is live for. So if, and we hope this isn't the case, but if any time you wanted your switch off WorkRite for any reason, that data will remain live until that very last day. So you can reactivate somebody or run reports on that person at any point that your system is live.
And just to extend that, Ryan, if people do have specific records management policies and you keep records for a certain amount of time, we can honour that as well. But we don't have a default just because it is different depending on the industry of the client as well.
Okay.
I think we've probably got time for just one more question. We currently use legacy reports to find out who hasn't completed their training through the training not complete report. What is the best way to do that now, Ryan?
Okay. How shall I get to that one then? Okay. Fine. Can you just read that question to me one more time?
So we currently use the training not complete report to find out who hasn't completed their training yet, and then filter it by location. So what's the best way to do this now? So
okay.
Training records.
So if I pick a particular course, let's use WorkRite as the flagship product. I want to find out, I can run by location, pick the office, apply the filter. I then want to find out assessment completion, overdue. Sorry, course completion date. There we go. I'm confusing myself. Okay, Chris, I'm running this.
So in filters, you should have a course status.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Course status not started. I was running all of these reports earlier, and I've confused myself with my options with filters. But yeah, so to answer that question, I've picked my course. I would, if I wanted to, group them by location. If I wanted to remove that particular option there, everybody on the system by course status not complete, that is now applied that filter. Fortunately, on this system here, we've got nobody that's actually not got any issues open and no incomplete assessment. So there's your data there.
Great, thanks, Ryan. Well, I think we've got through most of the questions, and if you've got anything else, please send them either through to support or ask Ryan, and the support desk is there. They know the reports really well, and they really are there to help you get the best use out of the system, so please take advantage of that. We will see you either next week or the week after if you want to tune in again. If you've got any other users, be it client managers or other users that use reports within the system, please feel free to invite them along as well. But we'll send out some communication about that shortly. So thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks for joining us.